Right, we're live. How's it going, everybody? Good morning. This is Jose Trujillo, world's greatest living artist. World's greatest. This morning I'm taking my son to school. It is what it is. I love driving this little guy every chance I get. He's so much fun. How little dude. Good news though. Good news. I finally found a driver. So that's going to save me about 2 hours a day. Now think about this, okay? I just want you to think about this for a second. Those of you who may not. How's it going? How's it going? Patty_art. Think about it for those of you who may not be thinking that that's worth doing if you have an art career and an art business. I call it art career because everybody does, right? But it's not a career, guys. It's a business. It's an art business. Where I have to drive my son to school, it eats about 2 hours of my day. Okay, altogether, from the time that I get in the car, and when it's all said and done, right? When I have to stop painting, it's not when I get in the car. When I have to stop painting or I have to stop working, and then I get in the car and then come back, it already took like 2 hours of my day. So, if you don't think that's a lot, all you have to do is multiply by 6, because I work a good 6 days a week. Okay, most of the time I work 7. But let's just, for the sake of the argument, that's 12 hours, guys. That's 12 hours in a week. Just think about it. For someone who's willing to, even if you work 5 days a week, right? Still 10 hours. It's a whole day, guys. A week. It's one extra day. It's one extra day if you have someone to help you do that task. It's one extra day a week for me to be able to produce. You see what I'm talking about? That's the kind of stuff I talk about when I talk to you guys about getting someone to clean your home. Like, get someone to help you in the beginning. What many people do, and I try to do, was getting someone to help me work, right? This might not be the thing to do. This may not be the thing that you need. Turn down a little bit, mijo. This may not be the thing that you need to do in the beginning. Okay? In the beginning, what you probably want to do is get someone in your art studio to help you, not necessarily work, not necessarily do other stuff. No. In the very beginning, you want to get someone to help you free up your time. And this is a mistake I made. Okay, now I'm telling you this because this is a mistake I've been making. Since the beginning, I try to get people to help me work. Oh, how can I get someone to help me work? That's great. But see, you need multiple people to actually help you advance, because you're working so hard, because you're the owner, right? It's your business. You're the artist. So because you're working so hard and so fast, getting someone else to help you, it's not going to necessarily advance you right away. Now, I know that some people believe that, and this includes mentors of mine. The very first thing they say is start getting people in there, and it's very true. But many of us don't even know where we need to help. Many of us don't even know where we need to help. Usually where we think we need to help, we don't. So what I discovered personally, one of my tricks was if I could get people to help me free up my time. So where are you in your business when you need to get someone to help you free up your time? Do you clean your yard? Right? Do you clean your studio? And how long does that take you, and how often do you do it? For example, if you clean your yard once a month, maybe that's not a problem. If you clean your studio every other day, or if you clean your studio once a week, maybe that's something to consider. But especially the things that you're doing daily. What is it that you're doing daily that you could get help with? Do you have kids? Do you need someone to help you in the house, take care of the kids? You know? Do you need maybe you need a driver like myself, you know? I needed to get someone to help me drive my son to school and pick him up from school. And again, as I started this video, I was telling you guys, look, it took me about 2 hours, right? So you have to find out. It took me about 2 hours to take my son to school, to bring my son or take my son to school all together, right? So if I get a driver, that's 2 extra hours of my day. Like from the moment I take my apron off to when it's all said and done and I came back from school, it's already been 2 hours. So how can I pay someone those 2 hours so that I can produce like a boss, right? For those 2 hours rather than driving around. So that I can go get more opportunities, so that I can sell more artwork, so that I can produce artwork, to sell artwork, so that I can, whatever. You have to start knowing how much your time is. What's not how much, but what's it worth, right? What is your time worth? If your time's not worth that much, then you should do everything, right? You should do all the things. But I'm telling you guys, this is a mistake I made early on. I had no idea. I thought I was being smart. Because usually what happens is that you think you're being smart because you're doing everything. You're like, yeah, I'm being so smart. I'm outsmarting everyone. And, and on and on and on. But you realize right away that that's not time is it's the most valuable asset. If you had all the time in the world to become, successful in your career, in your art business, then it wouldn't matter when or why you do stuff, how you do stuff. It wouldn't matter. You have all the time in the world. The thing is that time is limited. Time is limited, right? We got 60 minutes in 1 hour. We got 24 hours in a day, We have 365 days in a year. It's limited. So how much can you get done in a day? How much can you get done in a year? And that's really what matters, right? It's figuring out how much you can get done. And the very first thing that businesses do is they start hiring people, which is probably the most intelligent thing to do. It's just that for entrepreneur artists, many times we don't even know where we need to hire, and we're afraid. And also we've been socialized to thinking that if you're an artist, you don't need to hire anyone. You can do it yourself. You should do it yourself. If you're an artist, you should be doing it yourself. Because you're creative, right? So we don't think the importance of marketing. And see, if you're an artist and you're like, oh man, I'm creative. What you want to do right away, this is a mistake I made, is you start trying to do all of your marketing pieces yourself. You're like typing everything up. You're making all the Photoshop things for all that bullshit, right? All that stuff. And then you're taking your time with it too, because you're creative and you love it. But see, what you may not be understanding if you're doing this kind of stuff, like designing your your business card, or I'm not saying not to do it. If you're a fast cat, do it. But most people are not like that. Most people will sit there and agonize about the effing font. They'll agonize on the font of a business card. What font should I use? Oh my God, blah, and then they just agonize on it, or the information, or the color of the card, and that's a job for someone else. That should be a job for give that to someone to agonize over. Hopefully they won't agonize with it, but see, because we're creatives, we do this to ourselves. Just a second. Sorry about that, guys. I had to answer a phone call. So figure out where it is that you're lacking that you're spending too much time on. And this is something that I'm like spitting in the morning. This is something that I learned from a mentor. I intuitively know this stuff, but I guess if you don't do it enough, you don't really get it, There's stuff that you're doing in your day that it's just not what you should be doing. And I'm not talking about bad stuff. I'm talking about like stuff that you think it's right, stuff that you think is good. Like you're ready to put your paintings on eBay or Etsy or whatever, and you're spending time cropping and adjusting color and all this bullshit that, oh my God, guys, if I could just, maybe you have to go through it, I don't know. If I could just tell, if anyone would catch this, what I'm trying to say, don't spend time on that, guys. Like, I'm not saying not to clean the image, but like, don't overspend time. And what I mean overspend time is there's a fine line between spending time on something and overspending time. It's very fine. Most people are like, man, it's not that big of a deal. It only took me like 30 minutes. Like 30 minutes. Yeah, but if you're uploading 10 photos and each one takes you 30 minutes, between taking the photo and cleaning it up and all of that, you're killing yourself. You have no idea how bad that is to your business, to your bottom line. So I'm not saying go get someone to do that for you. What I'm saying is the stuff that you already know how to do, because most artists know how to use some version of Photoshop. Most artists know how to use a camera, how to take a decent photo. A clear, what I mean decent, I'm not talking about like some perfect Instagram well-lit photo. I'm talking about something that has, good lighting. It's clear. It's not fuzzy. Most cameras do that. Your phone does that. You don't even need a camera, like a professional camera or anything. Most phones today are so damn good. You took the picture, you email it to yourself, and then you download it to your PC or whatever, and then you upload it to your platform, to your sales platform, eBay, Etsy, wherever you sell. But if you're spending time cropping, and all of this stuff, you're killing yourself. It's not the way to do things, guys. I promise you, that's not the way to do things. I also don't think that it's if you're spending time going to the art store. Look, here's another thing. I know a lot of artists, especially when they're getting started. We have there's a joy, and not only when you're getting started, but there's a joy in the process, right? In the process of purchasing things, especially when you're getting started. There's a joy in it. This is a killer. The joy of going into the art supply store, picking colors, agonizing over the brushes, the canvases, the materials, this pencil over that pencil. Man, I spent so much time. And now some people are like, well, that's how you learn. You're learning. Again, there's a fine line between I'm learning. See, you don't learn through thinking, guys. You learn through doing. And that's not really doing. That's utilizing precious time. See, I'm going to tell you here, the thing is that the vast majority of your energy and your time gets wasted in minutia. It's minutia. And this is the reason, I believe this is the number one reason why artists don't get their success. They don't get their piece of the pie. We get lost in minutia. It's mental stuff. 90% of the stuff that artists do is mental, it's minutia stuff. I'm going to go run to the art supply store. I'm thinking about doing a new painting. I got to do some research, and I gotta really think about this and that, and the subject matter and this and all this bullshit. If you're doing that, you may not be fully ready to take on your art career. Or maybe you are, maybe you do, and maybe that's your process. I don't know. But there's so much minutia in an artist's life, in being an artist. There's so much of that. It's so sad. It's not a career that people respect. First of all, it's something that people think it's first of all, because it's not a career, right? It's a business. And the faster we switch that word, the better it's going to be. It's not something that people respect. It's something that people think it's a hobby. You got yourself a hobby, and you're trying to monetize from it, but you're lost in the process of it. The process of how it feels good. There's a feel good aspect of it. For example, spending time buying art supplies when you could probably order them online. I know people are like, well, I want to be there. I got to see them, and plus I want to support local businesses, and on and on and on. Cool. Maybe you go there one day and then you spend all day, if you want to, checking out everything. I don't know. Checking out everything that you think you're going to need for the month. You spend there, I don't know. You don't need more than an hour. But if you feel like you do, then, go and spend, 5 hours if you want to, in an art supply store. Figuring out everything you need. Okay? Once you figured out everything you need, put some money aside. Sell a painting or something. Put some money aside, and then buy everything in bulk, so you don't come back to it. It's a killer to come back to it. It's another time killer, because in the time that you go and you come back to it, okay, let me just run this really quick. Even if it's around the corner, you're gonna spend there 30 minutes, an hour, because artists love doing that. They don't go in and out. They go in and they look at the new stuff, and then they start daydreaming. It's sacred time. It's time that you could have used to... Mijo, turn it down a little bit. It's time that you could have used to get back to clients. It's time that you could have used to market on eBay. To market on eBay, on Facebook. I was thinking about eBay. To market on Facebook. To market on anywhere. It's sacred time that you can use to advance into the marketplace. Why would you spend this sacred time going to an art supply store and just wander about and even if you're picking up stuff, I'm not wandering about, I'm picking up stuff. I know, but how many times do you do that a month? How many times do you do that? I know I'm guilty of it. That's why I say. And I already have a running business. And I know I'm guilty of it. I go there and I'm like, oh man, I forgot this paint. And I go and I pick it up. I still do this stuff. I still have to check myself before I wreck myself. Because I know I still do this stuff. So if I'm doing it and I have a running business, I know that there's artists who are getting started who I know for sure I'm spending 2-3 hours, at a time in an art supply store, or maybe here's another killer. You're spending too much time preparing for a painting. Maybe in the time that you're spending preparing for. Now this is stuff. This is due to the fact that. What's that about? This is due to the fact that you don't know what you're doing. Okay. I'm not trying to be mean or anything. This I know for sure. When you don't know what you're doing, you'll spend time on things that you're not supposed to. You'll spend. It comes down to knowledge. You know how they say knowledge is power? It's true, but it's the right knowledge that is power, or any knowledge. I mean, bad knowledge is power too. It's power over your production of yourself, right? Bad knowledge is also power. So I guess knowledge is power, but to benefit you, it has to be the right knowledge, though. And I believe the right knowledge is experiential. It's experiential. For example, I know that most artists, I know this for a fact, right, spend a lot of time in preparation. They prepare. Like if you're going to go open a website, you'll sit on it and wait for it, and you're going to go and check out 5 different platforms that host websites. I know, because I've done it myself. I can't assume that because I've done it myself, everybody has done it. I talk to a lot of artists, and I know they do it too. Okay? But I know the feeling, is what I'm trying to tell you. I know what it feels like. So you go and you start looking for different websites, okay? And then you go and you figure out what website you want, and then you start. You see, you add time. And remember what we said at the beginning? What is the most valuable asset? Time is the most valuable asset. But yet we add time to everything, as if we have so much of it. We add so much. It's better. I'm going to tell you guys this trick. It's better to add money to something than to add time. It's better to add energy, like so much energy or some sort of income in there or whatever, some money in there, as opposed to time. Time is your most valuable asset, and yet we add time to everything as if we have infinite amounts of it. I bet you most people, it's easier to go get money. It's easier to go get help. It's easier to go get employees. It's easier to do it faster than to add time. It's easier and better. Not just easier, because I know that some people get caught up in that. Well, but is it better? Is it more? Is it more constructive? Is it more precise? Is it this? Is it that? The ROI, is the return better? Of course it is. Anything that you suck time out of, it's better. Just look at it. Just look at any industry. Like please just think about any industry. Back in the day, there used to be a pony, some guy on a horse or whatever, taking messages from town to town, and then we developed the letter, right? The letter, the email. That sucked time right out. There's faster ways of doing it. Now the guy wasn't doing it in the horse anymore, right? Now the guy was delivering messages on a card. First before that it's probably eagles, and I don't know, not eagles. What was it? Like some sort of bird, some dove or something, delivering messages. Then there was the guy on a horse. Then there's a guy in a car, right? Then there's the train. Develop the train system, industrial revolution. And on and on and on. Then the airplane. We get messages and we get stuff faster, right? You'd be the wealthiest man in the world if you could figure out how to get a package to someone in less than an hour. Not in a day, in an hour. You'd be the wealthiest person. I mean, you'd kick everyone's ass, including Zuckerberg's. It's sucking time out of the equation, guys. That's the game. That's the game. And yet we all act when we I mean, look at email, right? Boom. Look at text. Boom. People prefer text than calling. Why do people prefer text than calling? You know why? Because it's faster. That's why. It's not because, I remember people saying, it's a new way of communication. It's not a new way of communication. It's a faster way. You take your phone out, you need to say something, boop, 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 boop. There it is. By the time that it took you to dial or to look for someone's phone number or whatever, you already texted, right? People get so fast, it's so much faster. Why? Because hands are very fast, right? Human hands are extremely fast. Every time I hear when people are like, oh, it's the new thing to do, this is nice, it's right, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yes, I don't even know what you're talking about. The reason why we're using it, the only reason why we're using it is because it's faster. Human beings are always looking for the fastest route. Because the fastest route moves people forward. That's the only reason why we came out with the train. It's the only reason why we came out with a plane. Not because people wanted to fly and wanted to feel what that meant. I'm sure that there was some part of that. The Wright brothers. Oh, let's see what it feels to fly. It was to get from point A to point B faster. And as artists, because we're creative, we get sucked into the process, and we don't do things faster. We don't know how to do. And I'm not just artists, okay? I'm not just bashing artists like like you artists. I'm an artist. Just people in general. That's what we do. We add time. But remember, it is your most valuable asset. So why would you throw it away? Why would you add time to something? Why would you add time to the process? Imagine if when cooking something, instead of being 30 minutes in the oven, it would be 30 hours in the oven. By the way, this used to happen. I don't know if it was 30 hours, but there was ovens back in the day where you people still do this in ranches. I've seen it happen. I've seen them do it where they make a hole in the ground, and it's sort of like a barbecue. And that takes hours, and it takes all day. All day. It's like a ground oven. Ranchers do this stuff. I've seen them do it. I've saw them do it in Mexico. I've seen them do it here. Ranchers do this stuff. Where they make this oven, because that was the oven back in the day. So some smart person came up with a home oven, right? With a house oven, something that just it sucks the time. It still cooks the food. It still does everything to the way that it's intended to do it, but it does it faster. It sucks out the time so that you can enjoy the rest, or you can be more productive in your day and do the things that you need to do. Just like the personal vehicle, right? Like the Model T, Ford, and now everybody has a car. That's what we do, right? The only reason why everybody has a car is not because you want to enjoy the ride, especially if you live in places that are not like huge cities like New York. If you have a car, you know the importance of a car. You can get 20 things done in one day if you have a car, as opposed to, riding public transportation or walking. Even worse, right? Walking somewhere. So, I'll leave you guys with that. I hope that I got some message across. I hope that you guys, when you're in your studio and doing your thing, working on your artwork and your things, I hope you can audit yourself. There's so many things that waste your time, guys. One of the things that also wastes people's time and people don't seem to really pay much attention to, it's your emotional state. Your emotional state is a killer. You're the type of person that if you get angry about something or upset, and you stop working, you stop performing, and you have to go put yourself back together, you need to work on that. By the way, all of it is lack of knowledge. It's awareness, really. It's awareness, but it has to do with knowledge. There's knowledge missing, and not book knowledge, but it's actually awareness, right? There's missing. There's stuff that you don't know. If you're the type of person that you need to be inspired in order to create artwork, there's something you don't know. You're not aware of something. There's no way in hell any professional artist needs to wait to be inspired to start creating artwork. It just doesn't happen that way. If you're the type of artist that you only paint at night because that's only when you feel it, there's something you don't know, right? Or you only paint, at a certain time of the day because that's when you feel best about doing it. There's also something you don't know. Even if it's your process, even if you adopted it and you call it your process. Imagine if you have a business, I don't know, you sell motorcycle parts and you only work on that business at 3 a.m. and you only try to sell and do all your work at 3 a.m. and open the doors at 3 a.m. because that's when you feel right about it. It doesn't work that way, right? That would be someone that's like missing the whole point of commerce and business. Who's out at 3 a.m. unless you're selling, I don't know, something else, not motorcycle parts. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoy this. I hope that I didn't bore you to death. I think I'm pretty cool. Take care and watch your life. Watch what you do and how much time you spent on something. All right? I will talk to you guys soon. Adios.